Uplifted the human race. Now I invite Ms. Divya Agarwal to
and solutions in most cases. She is also the founder of two NGOs in India, Navjyoti India Foundation and the India Vision Foundation. Dr. Bedi received the Raymond Magsaysay Award in 1994 for the government services. Life is not easy and success is never smooth, and winners are those who have the zeal to stride oppositions and battle out unfavorable ambience, rewriting history and compelling the society to overhaul its.
I've been to ladies study group and yours many years ago, but why did you take so long? Because I like being with your group. It's very responsive, it listens, it absorbs, it contributes, it interacts. Therefore, it's always a joy coming back to groups like yours. You asked me to speak on a subject which will draw out of my manifold experiences. So it will be subjective and objective. Subjective is, I'm a woman and I'm proud to be a woman. Objective is that I've done 35 years of policing where I've seen both sides of the world. And I was then not sitting in uniform as a woman, I was sitting as an official who's there to do justice to situations which come. So that's coming out of 35 years of policing. Third is that I became an NGO, a non-profit organization, last 26 years. Well, it is good, sound social work even as a police officer, but you do it with the power of law. But when you become a social worker, you do it with power of persuasion and goodwill. So I've been also into active social work, running two of my non-profit organizations, which have been very focused on women development and community empowerment. Last 26 years. So these are, and of course my fourth is my own research and my writing, for which I did a PhD, and I did a PhD in drug abuse and domestic violence. So what I'm going to share with you is coming out of these manifold experiences. So therefore, you have to, you please appreciate whatever I say. It's in that context. Used to take us for weddings, which then we did not even have the dowry law, and dowry used to be displayed. And it used to be counted. How much silver, how much gold, how much brocade, how much given to the relatives, for whom, who's left out. And for how many people is this barat? And for how many days? Wedding used to go on for three days. If you remember, my God, it was 3 days. So it was full of fun, full of joy, full of crying after that. But I saw it all. So I'm a product of a world which saw, could have had a choice to absorb and like that, and had a choice to say, this is not what I'd like to be. And the credit of my thinking, if it's a credit, goes to my parents. Because we were 4 sisters, no brother, but parents who were very visionary, who knew what they did not want their daughters to be. One thing is very clear, you know, when we are small, we want to be everything different. But parents had a vision. So they very subtly nurtured us into very gender neutral things. Like for instance, they put us into everything, like the sports. Sports came very early in my life, which was at the age of 6 and 7, I was every day on the tennis court. From school, Sacred Heart School, to straight to the tennis court, where mommy would join us, daddy would be playing tennis, and we girls with our bags used to be there at the tennis court. Do our homework when there's no turn to meet. Homework finished because you're spending your home time, homework. So this is the way I grew up. It's very important to put my thoughts in that context. What am I a product of? I'm a product of having seen that world, grew up in the world, and also sensitive to her home. First of all, she's left her parents' home. Then she's gone into her husband's home. Then she's lost even her own city. Aren't you getting goose pimples? I am telling you this. Look at the situation of a woman. She's a part, 1/3 part of the Indian migrant population. She's a double migrant. She's migrated out of her own home to her husband's home. Then she's even migrated out of the city she was born in, where she had no friends. And she goes into a city where probably she has no friends. What kind of insecurities does she go through? She has nobody to go to, sometimes even no language she has. So this is this, as far as the situation is concerned, concerning a woman. And of course, Indian population. I'm not giving you statistics of who sends how much money back, for which state comes in, because I didn't want to give that, because I know media will just pick it up and think it's political. I didn't want to make that into a political situation. We have only less than 29% of women in our workforce. China has 2/3 of its women in the workforce. Look how every woman is contributing to nation building, whereas here just 1 out of 3 women is barely contributing. There 2/3 of the women are solidly contributing. 40% of world's child brides are in India. There is a state which tops and the state which belows, and Bengal comes in between. But which tops and which doesn't, I don't wish to say. But we have 40% of the world's child brides in India. I think that came as a nurturing quality as a human being. While the law and the others, toughness of arrest and giving the man a particular punishment came through the male traits, but see how 2 things merge in a person when that person, but the nurturing quality never left. Nirbhay's case, if you ask me, was a preventable case. How? And that's where the first solution of my 6P formula comes. And that's my package for today. Can women's security be enhanced? Can this country in India do something about it? Can it fast forward women's security, or can it fast forward human development, which includes women equally? Yes. And can crime be prevented? Yes, to a great extent. Number 1, how? The first situation when it comes to crime begins at home. First situation is crime begins at home. Why? Look at Nirbhay's case. Nirbhay's case had a mother, those accused had mother who had no control over her boys. They were even married, the wife had no control and almost link or communication, didn't even know what the husband was doing. There were 2 women back home who had no control over a deviant, delinquent man, who was a crime-oriented person living in another city. But they were also dropouts. When I say crime begins at home, it's a dropout. And look, 90%, basically 10% going to higher education. 90% of our education in millions stays put beyond, doesn't go beyond 10 to 11 class.